Now the trolls have gone into overdrive with their firm belief that non-mother Meg was never pregnant, and the childless Sussexes continue to subject the world to an extraordinary hoax.
I mean, if they're looking at that and think this is clever,
yeah.
I mean, are they stupid or what?
Well, I think they
just think, because it just looks like it's in such poor taste, and yet she thinks that she's a princess.
What happens when a royal birth becomes so suspicious that palace insiders are reportedly considering removing children from the line of succession? We're about to dive into the most controversial royal scandal of the modern era, one that just got a whole lot messier in 2025. Because apparently, when you try to silence conspiracy theories with Instagram posts, you sometimes just add more fuel to the fire. This is the story of how Archie Harrison's birth went from a joyous occasion to a scandal that refuses to die, and why recent revelations are making everything so much worse.
6 years later, and we're still asking the same questions about Archie's birth, because the answers keep changing. Royal births typically follow a precise protocol that's been perfected over generations.
Buckle up, because what we're gonna go into today is gonna be a wild ride, and I'm gonna leave it all up to you to decide what is what. Have we found the real father of Lily and Archie, or the real mother?
And has the right almost to be HRH, although officially
Meghan Markle in allegedly a labor and delivery room with her loser of a husband, pregnant and twerking to allegedly induce labor.
Palace announces labor begins, provides updates throughout the day, then proud parents emerge on hospital steps within hours to share their joy with the world. It's transparent, it's traditional, and it works beautifully. William and Kate have done this dance 3 times, each birth announcement flowing seamlessly from labor to delivery to public presentation. The world gets to share in the joy while respecting the process.
But May 6th, 2019 shattered that playbook completely. Instead of the usual announcements, we got 8 hours of radio silence, followed by the strangest press release in royal history. The palace claimed Meghan had gone into labor in the early hours. But here's the twist that started everything. Archie had allegedly already been born hours earlier at 5:26 a.m. So if he was born at dawn, why was the palace pretending labor was just beginning in the afternoon? That timeline made absolutely zero sense from minute 1.
But wait, it gets worse. The initial announcement read like someone was making it up as they went along. Usually, royal birth announcements are precise, formal, and comprehensive. They include the exact time, the attending medical team, and follow established language patterns. But Archie's announcement felt rushed and incomplete, as if crucial details were deliberately being withheld. The public was left squinting through the fog, trying to piece together basic facts that should have been crystal clear.
What is going on? Because the documentation and the laws that I'm going to show you pertaining those 2 children, it raises even more questions than provide answers. And on top of that, it seems that the surrogate for Lily has been located in Colorado.
When Archie's birth certificate finally surfaced weeks later, royal watchers noticed something unprecedented in modern royal history. No doctor's signature. No attending physician listed anywhere on the document. For a royal birth, that's like having a wedding certificate with no officiant. Technically impossible under normal circumstances. Every royal birth certificate going back decades includes the medical team details. It's standard protocol, not optional paperwork. The Portland Hospital, where Archie was allegedly born, is a prestigious private facility that handles high-profile births regularly. They have procedures, protocols, and paper trails for everything. Yet, somehow, the most important royal birth in years resulted in a certificate that looked like it had been filled out by someone's cousin, rather than medical professionals. Royal births require medical witnesses specifically because succession to the throne demands absolute legitimacy and transparency. But here's where it gets really interesting. Sources familiar with royal protocol pointed out that the missing medical signatures weren't just unusual, they were practically impossible if everything had happened according to standard procedures. Hospital births, especially for royals, involve multiple medical professionals who are required to sign off on official documentation. The absence of these signatures raised immediate questions about where and how the birth actually occurred. Then came the name games that left everyone scratching their heads. Initially, Meghan's full name appeared on the certificate as Rachel Meghan Her Royal Highness the Duchess of Sussex. Standard practice, following the same format used for Kate's children. But 3 weeks later, quietly and without explanation, her personal names were completely erased and replaced with just her royal title. Harry's name got edited too,
suddenly gaining the word prince that had mysteriously been omitted from the original document.
Worse are the persistent rumours that she's not a mum and never has been. Just when the difficult Duchess wanted all the talk of her fake baby bumps to fade away, along came a so-called friend to turbocharge the conspiracy theories.
Those birth certificate edits might have been overlooked if not for what royal watchers had been noticing during the pregnancy itself. Multiple photographs showed what appeared to be a remarkably flexible baby bump that seemed to shift size and position in ways that defied basic physics. We're not talking about normal pregnancy changes here. We're talking about dramatic differences that seemed medically unlikely within short time frame. The most infamous image came from a Getty photographer who captured what looked suspiciously like something repositioning itself under Meghan's dress. Getty stood by the photo's authenticity, but the visual was striking enough to launch 1,000 conspiracy theories. Social media exploded with frame-by-frame analysis, and suddenly everyone was an expert on pregnancy anatomy. The image went viral faster than royal protocol could contain it. But it wasn't just one isolated incident. Royal watchers started comparing photographs from events just days apart, noting dramatic differences in bump size, position, and shape that seemed to defy natural pregnancy progression. At some engagements, the bump appeared high and pronounced. At others, it looked lower and smaller. Professional photographers who cover royal events began quietly discussing the inconsistencies they were capturing. The speculation reached fever pitch when people started analyzing Meghan's movement patterns. Pregnant women, especially in late pregnancy, typically move with certain natural adjustments and limitations. But Meghan seemed to maintain her pre-pregnancy agility and posture in ways that struck some observers as unusual. She was squatting in high heels, bending at sharp angles, and moving with an ease that many actual pregnant women found difficult to relate to.
Their latest Let's Have Our Privacy exhibit, Exhibit A, would appear to be a rather interesting video, which I'm going to show you now. This is Harry and Meghan dancing in a maternity ward.
Remember those traditional hospital steps photos that connect royals to their people? William and Kate had done them with all 3 children, embracing the beautifully imperfect moments of new parenthood. Messy hair, tired eyes, genuine emotion. It's raw and real and utterly human. Princess Diana did the same with both William and Harry. It's a tradition that works because it's authentic, unguarded, and emotionally resonant. But when Archie arrived, that cherished tradition was completely scrapped. Instead, 2 full days later, Harry and Meghan staged a controlled photo session inside Windsor Castle with hand-picked media. The setting was pristine, the lighting perfect, but something felt fundamentally off about the whole production. Where was the exhaustion, the overwhelm, the beautiful chaos of brand new parents? They looked more like actors hitting their marks than people experiencing one of life's most profound moments. The contrast with other royal births was stark and intentional. Kate had appeared on those hospital steps within hours of each delivery, looking genuinely tired but radiantly happy. Her hair was imperfect, her makeup minimal, and her smile was pure maternal bliss. The photos captured authentic moments that the public could relate to and celebrate. They felt included in the joy. Meghan and Harry's presentation felt like a corporate boardroom meeting. Everything was calculated, controlled, and sanitized. The baby was perfectly positioned. The parents impeccably styled, and the whole scene felt like it had been rehearsed rather than lived. Instead of drawing people in, it created distance. Instead of sharing joy, it felt like a performance designed to check boxes rather than celebrate life. The timing was equally problematic. 2 days after birth, most royal mothers appear within hours, when emotions are still raw and real. The delay allowed for preparation, styling, and staging that stripped away the spontaneity that makes these moments special. It felt like they were presenting a product rather than introducing their son.
Think she fully understood or was even interested in what the role was supposed to become. I mean, the idea that, she hadn't earned enough brownie points.
There's more tea brewing because 2025 brought fresh controversy when palace sources allegedly revealed increasing pressure to remove both Archie and Lilibet from the royal line of succession due to persistent surrogacy rumors. According to recent reports, these aren't just tabloid whispers anymore. They're serious discussions happening at the highest levels. The implications are staggering because we're talking about the 6th and 7th in line to the throne. Royal author Lady Colin Campbell reportedly stated that the whole thing stinks to high heaven and demanded clarity about who is legitimately in the line of succession. Campbell, who has written extensively about the royal family, allegedly called for transparency that would clear it up once and for all.
When royal experts start demanding proof rather than accepting palace statements, you know the situation has reached critical mass. Even more explosive, Thomas Markle allegedly claimed he told someone that Meghan picked up her frozen eggs 9 months before Archie was born, adding another layer of speculation to an already complex situation. This wasn't some random internet conspiracy theorist. This was Meghan's own father, making specific claims about reproductive planning that preceded the pregnancy announcement. Whether true or false, such statements from family members add credibility to existing suspicion. The controversy reached new heights when Harry's own memoir inadvertently raised more questions. In Spare, he proudly wrote about being back at Frogmore within 2 hours of our son being born. But that statement immediately caught attention because, as one courtier reportedly observed, how many women give birth in our home in 2 hours? That didn't make sense unless Meghan didn't deliver the child herself. Most new mothers, especially first-time mothers, typically remain in hospital for observation for at least several hours, often overnight. Royal births traditionally involve extended hospital stays for safety and protocol reasons. The idea of being home within 2 hours of birth struck many as medically unusual and potentially revealing about the actual circumstances of Archie's arrival.
What is she talking about? What is that all about? Flower sprinkles? They're not going to sell out unless you're only selling 7 sprinkles.
Meghan apparently tried to silence the speculation in May 2025 with a wedding anniversary Instagram post featuring never-before-seen pregnancy photos and an ultrasound image labeled Archie. The mood board included a black and white photo of her with a visible baby bump, seemingly intended to provide definitive proof of her pregnancy. But instead of ending the controversy, the post seemed to intensify it. Critics immediately pointed out that ultrasound photos don't actually prove someone carried a pregnancy to term, as intended parents using surrogates would still receive such images. The medical reality is that couples using gestational surrogates are typically present for ultrasounds and receive copies of all imaging. So showing an ultrasound, while emotionally meaningful, doesn't actually address the specific allegations being made. Even more problematic, some observers noted the positioning of her bump in the pregnancy photo looked unusual, with some claiming it appeared too high or the wrong shape for a natural pregnancy at that stage. The image analysis that followed was intense and immediate. Photography experts and medical professionals weighed in on everything from bump positioning to fabric draping patterns. The timing of the Instagram post also raised eyebrows. Why wait 6 years to share these supposedly precious pregnancy moments? Why release them specifically when surrogacy rumors were reaching fever pitch? The defensive nature of the post seemed to confirm that the allegations were hitting their mark, rather than being dismissed as baseless speculation. But here's what really caught attention. The post included approximately 40 photos of their private life, suggesting a deliberate media strategy rather than spontaneous sharing. When you're supposedly trying to maintain privacy for your children, releasing dozens of family photos sends mixed messages about your actual priorities and concerns.
President Trump also announced a new trade deal with the UK. All that Britain demands in return is that we keep these two.
No, I refuse. I'm sick of it.
The legal implications of these persistent rumors are more serious than most people realize. According to royal succession law, heirs must be legitimate offspring of the royal marriage, and the principle of mater semper certa est, the mother is always certain, underpins UK family law. If surrogacy were involved, it could theoretically complicate a child's claim to legitimate succession, as British law initially recognizes the surrogate as the legal mother until parentage is legally transferred. Royal experts have noted that while other European royal families have quietly embraced surrogacy, the British monarchy has never officially addressed how such arrangements would affect succession rights. The Succession to the Crown Act requires heirs to be offspring of both parties in a royal marriage, language that becomes complex when reproductive assistance is involved. The stakes couldn't be higher because we're talking about the 6th and 7th in line to the throne. Legal scholars have pointed out that surrogacy introduces complications that centuries-old succession laws never anticipated. While modern assisted reproduction is legal and widely accepted, the intersection with royal succession creates unprecedented questions. Would children born via surrogate have the same succession rights? Would additional documentation be required? These aren't theoretical questions anymore given the persistent allegations. International examples show the complexity of these issues. Other royal families have navigated surrogacy quietly, but the British monarchy's position as a constitutional foundation makes transparency more crucial.
When succession to the throne is involved, legal certainty becomes paramount, and any doubt can create constitutional complications that extend far beyond family matters. The reported palace discussions about removing Archie and Lilibet from succession would be unprecedented in modern royal history. Such a drastic step would require substantial evidence and legal justification, suggesting that behind-the-scenes concerns may be more serious than public statements indicate.
And he'll say M and you'll say H and your friends say M and it just is a thing.
It's a thing.
And do you both love it?
Yes, and I like nicknames a lot.
What could it be? A mystery for the ages.
What makes this whole situation so damaging isn't just the speculation itself. It's the pattern of secrecy and contradictions that feeds it. Every time Harry and Meghan had an opportunity to provide clarity, they chose opacity instead. No confirmed hospital details, no medical team stepping forward, conflicting timelines that were never properly explained, birth certificate edits that made no sense, and a presentation style that felt more corporate than personal. When you combine that with recent claims from family members, palace source revelations, and Harry's own inadvertent admissions, you create the perfect storm for conspiracy theories that refuse to die. The public felt they were being managed rather than informed, manipulated rather than included. Trust, once broken, becomes almost impossible to rebuild, especially when new revelations keep emerging. The contrast with other royal births makes the situation even more problematic. Every other recent royal birth has been handled with transparency and grace. Medical teams are acknowledged, timelines are clear, documentation is standard, and public presentations feel genuine. The Sussex approach stood out for all the wrong reasons, creating suspicion where there should have been celebration. 6 years later, the questions haven't disappeared. They've only multiplied. Recent developments suggest this isn't going away quietly, and the implications for the royal family could be unprecedented. Whether the rumors are true or false almost doesn't matter anymore, because the damage to public trust has already been done. When you demand privacy while curating every public moment, when your story changes depending on the platform, and when your own family members start making explosive claims, you create exactly the kind of doubt that follows you forever. The world wanted to celebrate Archie's arrival, but instead, they got a masterclass in how to turn joy into suspicion. And apparently, the final chapter of the story hasn't been written yet, because the palace conversations about succession rights suggest that this scandal is far from over.